We learned earlier this week that conspiracy theories can have real world implications beyond just the dark corners of the internet. With the entire Pizzagate theory, earlier this week, we actually had a guy show up at Comet Ping Pong in Washington, D.C. to, quote, self-investigate the Pizzagate conspiracy theory and actually discharged his gun, his AR-15 assault-style rifle. There's a popular conspiracy theory that we haven't talked that much about lately. That's the Sandy Hook was a hoax conspiracy theory, relating, of course, to the Sandy Hook massacre in Newtown, Connecticut on December 14th of 2012, one of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history. And the conspiracy theory alleges that it was all staged. The victims were crisis actors. It was all a false flag. And this now has led to real world consequences because a 57-year-old Florida woman. Stories that start with Florida woman or Florida man, they often go in a pretty dark direction. A 57-year-old Florida woman has been charged with threatening to kill the parent of a victim of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting massacre because the woman believes that the shootings never happened. This is Lucy Richards. She's accused of sending several threatening text messages to the child's parent saying, "You gonna die. Death is coming to you real soon," according to the federal indictment that is now public. The U.S. Attorney's Office said Richards' belief that the school shooting was a hoax and never happened motivated her to make the charged threats. She was arrested a few days ago, charged with 4 counts of transmitting threats in interstate commerce. And if she's convicted, she could face up to 20 years in prison. I actually don't even understand the logic. Even if you thought the attack was fake, why would you kill one of the parents of the kids? I just don't understand how you even get to that.
Maybe because they were trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. And the whole conspiracy theory makes no sense because no effective gun legislation came out of the Sandy Hook shooting. They tried to pass even the minimal gun legislation, but couldn't do it.
I was thinking about that, Rachel, where what was the motive for this conspiracy theory, according to the conspiracy theorist? It was Obama is setting up false flag attacks involving guns so that then Obama or the government or the Illuminati or the New World Order or whoever it is, they can confiscate guns and pass gun bans. It's been 4 years since the shooting, Rachel. President Obama is days from leaving office. There have been no massive gun confiscations. The attempt to pass the background check bill, which most Americans agree with, didn't even happen. And there are more guns floating around than ever. So even the motive that was presented, it didn't happen. It was a major failure, if you believe it.
It definitely was. That part is quite puzzling to me. She's incredibly eloquent. But it's interesting because the man who was actually threatened has been threatened many times before. And there was a professor, I think it was from a university in Florida also, who said that everything was a hoax. And then he was actually fired. And he was saying, this is an infringement on my free speech, and said, no, your free speech is protected, but your job's not.
Yes, right. There were consequences to him spreading conspiracy theories in class and using that as a stage for his nuttery. If these supposed false flag attacks are the pretext to do gun control, then they have failed miserably, not just with this particular conspiracy theory, Pat, but just more broadly thinking about it as well.
And then there's people like Alex Jones in the forefront of this whole conspiracy theory. And to some extent, this blood would have been on his hands, right? And I guess he claims to have spoken with President-elect Donald Trump in the past few days.
It is very, very scary that conspiracist-in-chief Alex Jones is claiming to be in touch with the president-elect. And we've talked before about why these conspiracy theories are appealing. And I think at its core, it's the idea that for some people, the reality that we can't control everything, and sometimes horrible things happen that are out of our control. We can do whatever we want to try to be vigilant and stay safe, etc. But sometimes really bad things happen. That is scarier to many people than the idea that this was a staged attack or that someone planned it. It's the fear of the out of control and unknown that I think underlies why some of these conspiracy theories pick up steam, Rachel. And for me, I'd rather live in a world where I know the truth rather than I think that everything was a staged plan for optics and to achieve some political goal. But for some people, it's almost more comforting to think this wasn't a random event. Someone planned this, and here's the explanation as to why.
That's true. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of large massacres, there's usually a small margin to believe that there is a conspiracy theory. And when they do crop up, it seems like a lot of the people who are perpetrating them are slightly deranged.
Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes when you look at someone who's willing to show up at a pizza shop with an AR-15 rifle because of something that was posted to an internet message board, I don't know that you're necessarily completely of sound mind if that's even something that you're willing to do. So real world consequences for the Pizzagate conspiracy theory, real world consequences for the Sandy Hook was a staged hoax conspiracy theory. This stuff matters. And I'm not going to rehash my little rant about stochastic terrorism today, but Google that and check out the clips that I've done about that.